Hey guys. So my first very important question is, can I stand down here instead of up there? Yes, because I like to work the room and I like to move a lot and I would hate to fall off because I have a lot of big meetings the next 2 days. So does anyone have a vacancy? Raise your hand if you have one vacancy to fill. You're in the right room, okay. And then before we get started, for those of you that are on LinkedIn, raise your hand if you're on LinkedIn. Awesome. Who wants to have a LinkedIn hack that is going to blow your mind? Okay, get out your phones. This will be the only speaker that says get out your phones. Go to LinkedIn. Okay, I'm on LinkedIn. At the bottom, you see two little people. Raise your hand if you see the two little heads. Click on, everyone there, click on the two little heads. Now, everyone click on the two little heads. At the top, it says Find Nearby. Do you see Find Nearby? Click on Find Nearby. And what's about to happen is going to blow your mind. Now, if it says turn on turn on your whatever, turn it on. Mine's always on. Okay, and if we have service, it will blow your mind. It's not blowing my mind yet. Has it blowing anyone's mind yet? I'm not, it is? Who said, no, it's not. Anyone? Yes? It's blowing your mind.
So this shows you basically everybody that's in this room?
Yes, that's everyone who's in this room that now you can connect with. How phenomenal is that? So again, it's not blowing my mind because I'm not hooked up to the Wi-Fi. But if you are hooked up, during my presentation, I won't take insult, hook up to the Wi-Fi and do this, and anyone in the room, you can scroll and go, oh, the real estate manager from Ulta's in here. Let me click on them and connect. Oh, here I did it. It just came up for me. So is that cool? So LinkedIn, connect. Are you guys following me on LinkedIn? Awesome. I want you guys to talk to me when I post things that you agree with or even if you don't agree with. So I've been doing this I've been leasing for 33 years. I started in a rookie leasing training class, and I grew in this company to be the president. So when I started with Terra Nova in Miami, we had 11 people. And when I left, we had 150 people. I had been the president for 6 years, but I am a glorified leasing agent. I love to lease. So when I left there in 2004, I started my own company, and I wanted to buy shopping centers on my own account because Terra Nova was a large third-party service provider for life insurance companies and pension funds, and we made a lot of people, I always said a lot of widows and children, a lot of money. I'm happy I did that, but I wanted to make my own children money. I wanted to start buying my own assets, and my goal was to buy one shopping center every 2 years, and currently I own 6. I gave one back during the recession. Some of us in the room probably did that. And I developed my first center 5 years ago, and I said I would never do that again, and now I'm doing it again. It's like those mothers in the room, childbirth, same thing. And, but I lease, so right now I have 6 properties, and I lease, I collect rent, I check lights at night. I'm the chief cook at bottle washer, and there's chief cook and bottle washer. I have an assistant that's been with me 15 years. I have a part-time property manager and a part-time bookkeeper, and I always have interns that help me lease. So I lease every day, every week. I'm the one that has to get the waivers from the anchor tenants. Raise your hand if you've had to do that in the last year. I've had a Michaels in one of my centers, and I wanted to do a Sherwin-Williams. Sherwin-Williams, awesome, right? Great credit. Well, Sherwin wanted me to get a waiver from Michaels for paint. 3 months to get the waiver from Michaels for Sherwin-Williams for paint, right? The paint in Michaels are these little paints in the paint bucket, right? And after I get it, the day it's signed, Michaels calls me the next day and says, I'm so sorry to tell you this, we're moving out. So my number one goal, if you have seen me on LinkedIn, is I have to fill that Michaels box at this show. So anyone that has any ideas, if there's any tenant reps in the room that can bring me a tenant for Michaels, this is why I'm speaking here today. So I need to fill my Michaels. It's not easy filling boxes. We're going to talk about ways to lease space. It's really hard to lease boxes today. So a lot of this might have to do with more smaller spaces, but I'm happy to brainstorm. I have Goodwill that wants the Michaels box. And of course, when I said to Kara, my leasing agent, I'm sure there's a used merchandise issue in Michael's lease. I mean, in Aldi's lease, check it out. And so she took a picture of it and scanned it and emailed it to me. Well, not only is it a used merchandise, it says no Goodwill. But that didn't mean I didn't call Aldi anyway and ask. And he said, haha, no. So, ready to learn some stuff? Yes. All right. So here's just some deals I've done in the last few years, because why me? I absolutely know how to lease space. But I will tell you, Philip said, what do you do when you can't lease space? I hire someone. So I have a shopping center that sits right outside of the Sawgrass Mills Mall. I bought it from a note from Bank of America 8 years ago. I immediately filled it from 50% to 92%, should have sold it. Didn't, and then lost Sears Appliance and Vision Works and a sub guy. I'm down to 72% leased, cannot lease it. I did a broker party. I did me-mail blasts. You guys know what me-mail blasts are? Email blasts, that's all about you. Don't do that. I did extra commissions. I canvassed more than I've ever canvassed in my life. And after a year of no leasing, I was listening to some motivational book or tape, and it said, you know, insanity is doing something again and again and expecting a different result. And I thought, what in the book was saying, what in your life bothers you and what are you doing about it? And I went, what bothers me is I can't lease Sawgrass Commons. What am I doing about it? The same old stuff. Thank you. And I said, I think I should hire someone to lease my shopping center. Well, how would that look? I'm supposed to be the leasing queen. So, but those of you that see LinkedIn, I hired a firm I thought would be good, and I did a video about it, and I said, you know what, sometimes you have to change the players, and for me, that moment, I was not the right player. I outsourced it. We put it on video. The guy that I hired, Mike Mogerman, all these people are like, you're crazy. What, you know, you're crazy. This is like just, you know, you're not gonna be able to do anything. Guess what? This past week, he signed a first lease. I hadn't signed a lease in a year. It took him 4 or 5 months. It takes us, raise your hand if you are an owner of a shopping center and hire people or have a leasing team. It takes 4 to 5 months for a leasing agent to get something going. All the leasing agents in the room are nodding. So you can't hire someone and think they're gonna do something in a month. It takes time for them to get their arms around the asset, the vacancies, and the market. So 4 to 5 months, he just hit his 4-month mark and signed a lease. I'm so excited. So sometimes if you have an agent on an asset and just things aren't happening and you've given them a year, which I know is a long time, especially if it's the last 10 or 15%, because that's where all the juice is, change up the players. I did it, and I'm so excited. And you know, I had to have integrity to my partners and not my ego, and not my reputation. So stay tuned on that one. So 33 years, 396, and I own $79 million of ownership. So survey time. I need 2 people to stand up who are leasing agents who get calls into them. 1, someone else close. Leasing agent who gets call-ins. Can you come down here? Awesome. So we have Imelda and Katie? Candy, love that. Okay, how many calls a week do you get call-ins?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. How many call-ins a week?
Oh, I don't know. 8 to 10?
8 to 10. So I say that qualified prospects are qualified based on 2 things. And you guys don't answer. What are the 2 things that would give me that I'd get goosebumps if they told me? Qualified prospects. Meaning what? They have existing stores, goosebumps, and money, cash. Okay. 3 to 4 calls a week. How many of the 3 to 4 have existing locations and money?
Maybe 1.
Maybe 1. 8 to 10, out of 8 to 10, how many have other locations and cash?
Oh, maybe half.
Okay, everyone needs to hire her. So do you have properties that are awesome?
I don't. We have a very low vacancy rate,
So you have a low vacancy rate, so everyone wants your product.
but we don't have any space available.
Okay. Well, thank you, Candy. Let's all give her a round of applause. And Imelda, thank you. Give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. The point being, I think, raise your hand if you would say that 1% have other locations and cash. 10%? 50%. So the majority, less than 25%. Why do I do that survey? Because if we wait for the phone to ring for those prospects, Alan, how long would we would be waiting? A long, long time. Therefore, we must go out and be proactive, right? If you guys are sports fans, this is a game of offense, except our industry is an industry of defense. Our industry is an industry of just taking the phone call and reacting instead of being proactive. So I'm going to give you some ideas of how to be proactive. Canvassing. Does anyone know that I love to canvass? Yeah. So there's 2 ways to canvass. One is market canvassing, going into Buffalo, New York, and going center by center by center by center. Market canvassing. Target canvassing is, I want a bike store, and listing the 23 bike stores in a 2-hour drive and going to visit each and every one of those bike stores. And of course, if I go visit a bike store and it's in a shopping center, I'm going to canvass it, but I'm not going to distract myself and go to the center next door, because then I'm off the mark. So those are the 2 ways that I like to canvass. So when you go canvassing, I always say to people, what do you take when you canvass? So people go, oh, I take my business card. And then if in a physical location, and if you could visualize this, pretend it's the clerk in the store and they have a desk in the back room. And you've given your business card to the gatekeeper. And the owner of the business comes in that night, right, to come to check on the business. And on his desk, with multiple other things, there is your business card, or there is my flyer. Your business card that has, Premier, Tipton Wright Premier. What does the bike store owner know what Premier does on a business card? Where does that business card go, Tipton?
In the business card file.
In the business card circular file, right? But if you have a flyer that has your property, the location, the traffic counts, the other tenants in the flyer, your contact information, like any of these, they're going to look at that, right? Because what do we know about most mom and pop entrepreneurs when they opened their first location? What did they want to do next, William? When they opened one?
We'd like to open another.
Because it was their American. So they like talking about real estate and they like asking about real estate. So having a flyer with real estate versus a business card is super, super, super important. Additionally, if you have a space that has valuable infrastructure, former restaurant space, former medical, former hair salon. I had a client call me and said, can you come up and do some canvassing with my leasing agent? We've had an empty hair salon available for a year, and we don't understand why we can't lease it. And I said, okay, well, great, I'll come up on Tuesday, let's go canvassing. I have the flyer ready. Because yeah, I have a flyer on the shopping center. And I go, okay, well, does the hair salon have any infrastructure in there that's valuable? Oh yeah, it has 15 chairs, 8 sinks, a bunch of mirrors, yada. I'm like, we need a flyer with the picture of all of that. He goes, okay, can you have that ready? So he gets it ready. We go and hand the flyer out to 30 hair salons within half a mile of the center, and we had an LOI and a lease signed within 30 days. I said to him, do you think that hair salon operators on their days off travel around to the neighborhood shopping centers and go vacancy by vacancy and look in the window and go, is there 15 chairs and sink? There's no way. They're busy in their store. We have to make it easy for them. So if you have a space that has a valuable infrastructure, like a restaurant, and I know you guys have a hard time seeing these. I say I have, oh, here's the flyer, 1967 turnkey upscale hair salon, 18 chairs, 4 sinks. We leased it in 3 weeks. Restaurant space. Put the size of the hood. Put the ADA bathrooms or not. Put the ampage. Put the size of the grease trap. Make it easy for the prospect. They don't have time. They would be interested if you make it easy for them. Yes? Yeah. Okay. And then lastly, who has properties in a market, multiple properties in one market? Great. How many, what market, how many properties?
Portland, Oregon, 30 properties.
Great. And do you have a flyer with all 30 on them for the canvassing team?
Not as one unit, I would say. Digitally, I have a whole bunch, and I pass them around, but I don't have it together.
Great. So tomorrow, on Thursday, you will. Because, yes, everyone has to nod. So when they go canvassing and they drop off a flyer, that's one thing. But to be able to walk in and say, I have 30 shopping centers in Portland, what are your expansion plans? The next question usually is, where are they? And on the back, you post where they are. And then it starts the dialogue. And then the person says, oh, I shop at this one. And then when you canvass day one, I've been doing this 33 years, I've never done a deal day one canvassing. I have had people go, I'll follow you and I want to go see the space. Now, that's happened maybe less than 5 times. That really gives me goosebumps. But I've never done a deal the first day. The goal of the first day prospecting is to start dialogue. So when you have a 30-page flyer with 30 listings and a map on the back, guaranteed to start dialogue. So if you have multiple flyers in one market, I highly recommend, that's a great tool. I was in Irvine, California last week, and the Irvine companies had, I think, 39 properties, and we went to Laguna Beach and Corona del Mar, and we have 39 shopping centers. And everyone was like, oh, it is a great opening line. It shows credibility. It shows, presence. It's way easier for the person to say no when you go, hi, I have Smith Plaza down the street versus I walk in and go, I have 6 properties in Broward County. So 6 is still very good too. One day I'll have 39. Malls. So this is when you are prospecting for malls, so when you're prospecting for space, I like to canvass kiosks in A-plus malls because the kiosks in the A-plus malls are the wannabe in line. And those kiosks in the A-plus malls are multiple unit operators in your town. So the cell phone guy, the Sprint guy in the A-plus mall is got probably 5 kiosks in the A-plus mall, and he has 15 locations outside in power centers. So A-plus malls, the kiosks. The C&D malls, we all have our fair share of those. That's where inline local tenants have started to go into. So go to the C&D malls and hit the inline tenants because they're there. And they thought, oh, well, maybe I should go in the mall. And now they're realizing I've got to staff it 7 days a week. I've got to staff it till 9 o'clock. The cams are not $10, they're $25. And they're rethinking that move. So that's how I like to canvass there. On the left-hand side, flex space. I was in Des Moines, Iowa, I think, and we canvassed flex space. And we found a printer that was 10,000 square feet. He was like a portrait studio, print shop, did a lot of yearbooks, did a lot of modeling stuff, and we found them in a flex space. And then the picture over here is the interstate highway tenants, where David's Bridal used to go. the patio stores, the furniture stores, interstate highway. It's hard to get to that interstate, those retailers along the interstates. But if you have space that has visibility and exposure, those are great places to canvas. And I find that not many people go to those places, and they're great options. Okay, who gets a yes?
How are you actually canvassing? Are you just going into the store and saying, "Could you leave this for the owner?" Or?
No. So okay, what's your name?
Tilden.
Tilden? So great, thank you for saying. So who knows the worst question ever to ask when canvassing? Who follows me on social? Yeah, thank you. So we never want to ask for the owner, because this is how it goes. If I go up to you and I say, "Hi, is the owner here?" and you're the owner, are you going to tell me you're the owner?
No.
And what do you think? What are you thinking that I didn't think you were the owner?
You don't know me.
And you're thinking, why doesn't she think I'm the owner? Like I completely just disrespected him. Then I go to you and I go, "Hi, is the owner here?" And you're not the owner. How do I make you feel?
I'm in trouble.
What?
Unimportant.
Yeah, I just treated her not important. So asking for the owner or the decision maker, and I know for 40 years or 20 years or 5 years, however long you've been in the business, you've been told to get to the decision maker. I promise you 100% you will get to the decision maker far faster if you don't ask for the decision maker. So I walk in with my flyers and I say, "I have 39 shopping centers in California. What are your expansion plans?" If the guy's the owner, we start talking. And those of you, this works everywhere, but I will tell you in the Southeast, Alabama, Arkansas, I do have to go, and oh, by the way, how are you? And my name's Beth. In those southern states, it's a little, they kind of go, so you have to figure out your geography. But I do always introduce myself eventually, but they don't care that my name is Beth. They don't care what company. Canvassing and prospecting, why people don't do it is they don't like rejection. And the people reject you because you walk in and you're wasting their time, you're interrupting them, and they think you're gonna waste their time, and they think you're the cable selling guy. Like they don't know what you are, but they see you coming. So the quickest that you can get to the fact that you're in real estate, the better. So literally, if they're not with a customer before the door hits me in my butt, and I'm in one of those mattress stores where I've got to walk 60 feet in the bowling alley, I'm like, "I have shopping centers. What are your expansion plans?" And they go, "Shopping centers?" And it starts the dialogue. If it's someone that's not the owner, they go, "What do you do?" And then I go, "I have shopping centers." And frankly, I love when the clerk or the owner is busy with a customer, because I want to get the business card. Why do I want to get the business card? Yes. You are such a good social media follower of mine. I want to turn it around and see if it has 8 locations on the back of the business card. Because if they have 8 locations, what do I have on my arm? Goosebumps. Because that guy is going to want to talk to me. If it's 1, I'm still happy and want to talk to them, but 8 versus 1, major goosebumps. So I try to get the card, even when I'm talking. So even if they're not with a customer, I'm walking, I'm talking, and I'm going to the thing, and I'm talking, and I'm trying to get the business card so I have an idea, 1 versus 8, or 1 versus 4. And so the owner starts talking to me. The person that's not the owner goes, "What do you do?" And then I say, "We have shopping centers." "Oh, I see you have 3 locations. Have you ever heard, do you know if they're looking to expand?" And then the person says, "I have no idea. Okay, can I leave my flyer for you who would I follow up with?" So I don't say, and who knows, there's some older people in the room like me, has seen Columbo. Raise your hand if you know Columbo. So I do a Columbo move. I'll go up on the stage for this. So Columbo was a private detective, and private detective that would ask these very tough questions to the perp. It's the perp, right? The person who he thinks did it. And Columbo's talking to him, and he's asking all these like very easy questions. And then he goes, okay, well, thank you for your time. And he goes to walk out, and then always Columbo turns with the dagger question that's gonna get the guy arrested. So I do my Columbo move. Thank you, it's all great. Okay, if you could, I can leave this flyer. And then I go, who do I follow up with? They've never been told to not answer, who do I follow up with? They've been told to not give them the owner's information. And I know this sounds crazy. Anyone in the room that's been canvassing with me? Nobody. So I'm telling you, it works 1,000%. Is it better for me to be up here? Yes, okay, I'll stay up here. So I go, who do I follow up with? And they go, the guy in the business card, or you get the business card and you write down the name. But I would tell you 95% of the time when I'm canvassing, I get the owner's name and a lot of time the cell phone number. Does that answer your question? So, but the very important thing is to not go in and, oh, you have a nice store. Like, don't BS them, because that aggravation is rising, and you're in sales. We know you're in sales, just get to the point. So I literally get to the point before the door shuts and never ask for the owner.
Obviously, that applies to certain type of businesses, right? Because, I mean, you cannot go with that strategy to Starbucks and say...
Yes, it's all about mom and pops. Canvassing is only for mom and pops. Nationals, you have to contact them through email, and please don't send them me-mail blasts. So you have to one-on-one, I think we're gonna talk about that, and find out who their broker is and call their broker. But yeah, you don't walk into a Starbucks. Now, I will tell you, a lot of times I'm in states all over the country, and I'm not sure that if I'm in Lexington, if the AT&T is a corporate or a licensee, so I go in and ask. So I have this little saying. Anyone know my saying?
Don't say no for the prospect.
Don't say no for the prospect. So if I'm not sure if it's corporate or a franchisee or a licensee, I'm going in. And then I let them say, oh, we're corporate and you've got to contact the office in LA. Okay, no problem. And then I don't bother them, I just go to the website. But many times, someone I'm thinking is corporate is a licensee with 18 locations. Okay?
So is this practice like common? I mean, print flyers and stuff like that?
Is this practice, so you're from Peru?
I'm from Mexico.
Mexico.
The thing is that we fear that might seem a little bit desperate when people are not used to that thing.
Okay.
And they would start
So
guessing.
come here. Okay, come here and turn around and look at the audience. I hope this works. Stand up if you've canvassed in the US. Okay, now sit down if you feel you were desperate or that you thought the prospect thought you were desperate. Does that answer your question? Thank you guys so much. So I don't think, now again, I've not canvassed in Mexico. I'm happy to come. You can invite me. And definitely you learn, like for 20 years, I would go in and say, I have, back at Terra Nova, I have 50 shopping centers, what are your expansion plans? And then when the recession hit, that I did the same thing I did for 20 years. And all of a sudden I would go in and say that and the people would go, you're crazy, I'm gonna close that. Like I went, oh, I am saying the wrong thing. So then I changed it during that 4-year span of the recession. And I said, hi, I own shopping centers. Are you happy with your landlord, your renter, your location? And that started the dialogue. So in Mexico, maybe I'd have to change up my pitch. But you know how you figure out what the right pitch is? How can he figure out what the right pitch is, audience? Just try it. Just do it like Nike says. Okay? And I'm happy if you call me later, we can role play. Okay? So, value pack. Who gets the blue envelope at your house from value pack? And who throws it in the garbage? These are leads coming to your house. They're being mailed to you. Raise your hand if you've used value pack. Yes. So do you remember back 10 minutes ago that qualified prospects have 2 things? What are they? Locations and cash. What's the first thing that goes when a business is not doing well?
Marketing.
I'm just going to sit here for 1 second for you to. Okay, so they're spending money on direct mail, not cheap. And they have other locations. They are the goosebump people. Not only that, they're being delivered to your house. All you have to do is open up the envelope. Now, yes, you have to do a little work. There's 30 of them. You have to, whip through 25. The auto lubes, or, you may need an auto lube. But throw away the 25, and then the other 5, honey baked ham, Sinorama, the local chocolate, and they're right there. They've got their locations. It's awesome. So tomorrow, or when you get home, value pack. Who reads hard copy newspapers? Only me and the people that are over 50, right? Okay. Why do I want to talk about hard copy newspapers in a prospecting seminar? Why do I want you to look at hard copy newspapers?
Spending money on advertising.
Yes, if a location and a retailer is buying an ad in the Miami Herald for $20,000, what do they have?
Money.
And other locations. So, especially those of you that lease in markets that are away from your home. When you go to that market, so let's say you live in Las Vegas, but you have a shopping center in Denver. Collect all the newspapers and see who's advertising. Those are prospects for you to reach out to. Best of and Reader's Choice, Yelp. I live on Yelp and Best of and Reader's Choice. When I go to a new market to help a team canvas, it's the first thing I do. I ask the team, what are our top 5 uses we want to fill our vacancies with? They give me the top 5 uses, and I'm on Yelp, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Reader's Choice, I'm on TripAdvisor, and I look up Best of Chapel Hill barbecue restaurant, and those are the people we're gonna canvas. Because if those types of tenants come into my plazas and my shopping centers, what do they have going for them? Now, let's put aside the fact that maybe they buy their way, that's a pay to play. Let's be very granola and very non-suspecting that it's not a pay to play thing, and they truly earned the right of the best of. What do they have that they bring to your properties? A following, right? And they must have good service and good product. And why wouldn't we want someone to come into our vacancies that have product, good service, good product, and a following? Parenting magazines, if you have a center that you need tutoring or pediatric family care or karate, filled with ads. So pick those up when you're out. And restaurant news, hopefully we all have, if you have space, if you have centers that you need restaurants, an interesting stat. 10 years ago, landlords would not put more than 15% restaurants in their properties. Guess what it is up to today? 50. If you have the parking, you load it up. The hot new uses are the 5 F words. Food, furniture, fun, fitness, and are you ready? Physicians. Someone said they'd pay me $100 if I got 5 laughs. I think that was just the 5 laugh. There's the 6th one. So those are the 5 F words, and along with the fun, there's a new millennial description of retail. Competitive socializing. Topgolf, axe throwing, escape rooms, barcades. The millennials like to go out and have an experience and compete with their peers. And we old people like it too. So competitive socializing. So I get prospects from all of these. This is where I find the prospects that I want to call or go visit. Okay, raise your hand if you have a market that you lease in that is not a major metropolitan market. Okay, so here are my 2 tips for smaller towns, not like Los Angeles. join the chamber. Now, when I say join the chamber, I say that you have to do it in this way, because people go, oh, I joined the chamber, it doesn't work. So you have to join the chamber, and you have to attend 5 consecutive months to the morning breakfast, which starts at 7:30, which is not my favorite time of the day. And you show up the first time, and at most of them, and I've been to a lot of them around the country, the average chamber membership is about 300 people. And the average store owners in the membership is about 10%. 30 store owners, me. How many landlord leasing agents are at those chamber meetings? None. Now, we all come here, and all of us, 38,000 of us, are going to fight for the 190 retailers that are here. I like the odds of 1 to 30 better, right? So you stand up, and at the end of the breakfast, most chambers have an opportunity where you get and you have a minute to say who you are. So I go, hi, I'm Beth. I have Arrowhead Shopping Center, and I need a tax guy, a barbecue restaurant, and an insurance agent. Thank you, and I sit down. No one comes up to me. Month 2, show up. Hi, I'm Beth. Hey, thank you so much. I got the tax place. I still want the barbecue restaurant, the insurance, and my Japanese restaurant's opening next month. I hope you come eat there. And I would also like a shoe store, and sit down. No one comes up to you. 3rd month, stand up, same spiel, sit down. After the 3rd month, religiously, someone walks up to you and says, I have a friend. That's my 7th laugh. I'm so excited. I have a friend. I'm sure you do. And their lease is coming up for renewal. And do you know like Smith and Jones Street, like what the rents are around there? I highly encourage you to help them as much as you can. Oh yes, I know some people over there. I just did a market study. Be the commercial real estate expert of the chamber and just help. Do not sell in that conversation. This is a test. You help. You do not sell your property. You give information. You sit down. You do it again the 4th meeting. By the 5th meeting, you're working on a deal with someone. Now, after that, and after you are the in-house commercial real estate expert, you only have to go to the chamber once a quarter. But you have to set yourself up for those 5 or 6 in a row in the beginning. Has anyone had luck with chambers? How many deals have you done? I've done 2 deals a year for the last 5 years for my chamber. 2 deals is pretty good, right? Do you know how many? So I just got my annual leasing survey back from all of you, or many of you that filled it out. 18.5 deals a year per agent is the average across the country for non-ground up. 18.5. So I will go to the chamber for an hour 4 times a year to get 2 deals, won't you? Yeah. But you can't do that in Los Angeles or Denver or Miami. It has to be more of a smaller town market. The other thing that I do is I go to the smaller town market and I find the hottest, most active residential real estate company in that market. What do we know about residential real estate folks? What do they want to be? They want to be us. So we want to help them be that. So we go to them and we bring our flyers and we go see the broker and we say, do you have weekly meetings? Yes, of course. We have the shopping center down the street. We have 5 vacancies. I'm only in the market once a month. I would love to talk to anybody that you can bring me. You don't have to work the deal because they don't know what CAM is, right? So we don't want them working the deal. But we're happy to pay you $1 a square foot or whatever you want to give them. Tell the broker, and I do deals from my relationships with residential real estate brokers, in smaller markets. Again, I'm not doing this in Miami or Denver or LA. I'm doing this in, Palm Harbor, Florida. Small markets. I find that the residential folks kind of dabble in those small markets in commercial, but I also find that they know everybody. They're the husband of the mayor, they're the wife of the commissioner. They know everybody, so get plugged in, especially if you have a property where you are traveling to and it's not in your home market. Okay? Any other questions? So, Facebook. Anybody prospect on Facebook? Awesome. You all need to be, so I've been leasing space for 33 years. I have never, ever, ever seen the results in anything I've ever done that match the success of Facebook prospecting. 33 years. So who has Facebook? Okay, because I know there's some that don't. You DM, direct message like a text. So what I do is I say, okay, I want a bike store. I find that there are 23 bike stores in Broward County where I live, and I start going to the Facebook page. So first, bike store at Bike America, go to Bike America's Facebook page. When that pops up, the business Facebook page, there's usually a little blue bar, and the little blue bar says message. That is your invitation to prospect to them. You then push on the message and you say, hi, I have a shopping center in Detroit or in Ann Arbor. What are your expansion plans? Brief, brief, brief. I was just at Retail Live in Orlando, and everyone that was doing Facebook prospecting, we all agreed we're getting a 33% response. This young man said, I'm only getting 10. And I'm very frustrated. After the roundtable, I met with him. He showed me what he was sending. He was sending books, like my name is Mark, and I'm with this company. And I said, okay, stop that. Just do 1 or 2 sentences. He changed it, and a week later, he called and said, I'm getting 33%. It's like magic. Those of you in the room that are doing it, 3 out of 10. So Facebook only allows you to do 10 to 12 a day, and then they stop you. Of the 10 to 12 a day, I get 3 responses. Now, many times I'll get no's on all 3, but about twice a week, I'll have 1 or 2 people that will say, can I come see it, or can you send me a flyer? Those that are doing it, are you getting those kind of responses? Yes? Anybody not getting 33 response, more 3 out of 10? And I've also heard, someone told me recently at another conference I spoke at that they do 8 to 10 DMs in the morning, and then they go back in at around 4 o'clock, and Facebook lets them do another 10 to 12, which I want to try that, because if you can do 20 and get, and why does Facebook work? Guess who we are bypassing by DMing Facebook?
Gatekeeper.
You're bypassing the gatekeeper, because the owner of the business does not want the gatekeeper to be looking at the Facebook reviews. The owner, and 9 times out of 10, when I get the responses from the owner, it's at 2 in the morning, because that's when they're looking at it. Yes, you're nodding. Do you do Facebook? You do. Are you getting the answers in the middle of the night? Isn't that funny? It's consistent, right? The other reason Facebook works is Facebook, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, contacts the business and says, hey, you had a message you didn't respond to. If you want your algorithms to be at 100%, respond now, please. So they ping the business owner to respond to us. How awesome is that? Thank you, Mark. Right? So, and the other reason it works is supply and demand. So we are all inundated with emails, right? I'm on this big kick, and I have buttons. If you guys want buttons, I have no more email blasts, but I'm changing it. I'm gonna get a trademark, no more me-mail blasts. So we're inundated with these emails. So the business owner goes, looks at their laptop and says 300 emails at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then they go to check Facebook and there's this little magic 1. Okay, 1 or 300, where should I start? So it's supply and demand, bypass the gatekeeper, and Facebook algorithms. It's a win-win-win-win, and if any of you want to come up afterwards, I will help you do your first Facebook DM. And then Craigslist, a lot of people, if you have infrastructure space, so back to the restaurant, the hair salon, the medical, if you have space that has valuable infrastructure, Craigslist is a great place to put that on, put like your flyer on the Craigslist and get some feedback. Okay? LinkedIn. nationals. Here we go. So I wish I could tell you that I have 100 national retailers that are my connections. I don't think there are 100 national retailers connected. So I'm on a big push for that. I keep posting things. If you guys are my LinkedIn followers, I keep posting things that will benefit the retailers so that they get on. You know, what do you, like I posted, I know you guys hate email blasts. How do you want us to contact you? Because we are at a loss and our bosses and our clients want us to email blast you. And then that one, I think I had about 90 responses, but only 30 were retailers. So hopefully more national retailers will jump on the bandwagon, but that's how you're going to reach out to them. And at this show, I reached out to for my Michael's box. Do you all know that I have a Michael's box to fill? Yes. Okay. I reached out to probably 30 to 40 boxes, potential prospects, through LinkedIn. Because again, supply and demand. If they're on it and they're checking it, I got much faster responses. But of the, let's say 35 I sent out, 25 still haven't opened it. That means they're not active on it. You know, their marketing person put them on and they're not engaged. But the 10 that are, all responded. Because that's back to the supply and demand. It's easier to respond to one DM than the 400 emails sitting in their box. But nationals, email, phone call, and if you go to my LinkedIn and find there's a post, and I might have turned it into an article, how do we get national retailers to respond to us? You will literally go and see 90 comments of how people are doing it and getting responses, okay? Pop-ups. Anybody in the audience do a pop-up? I love pop-ups, and I was doing pop-ups before pop-ups were cool. Now all the big companies are doing pop-ups. So someone tell me the time. 11:48. Okay, I gotta go fast. Okay, pop-ups. So I bought a shopping center at the height of the market, and then the next year, the global crisis hit, and I went from 2 vacancies to 14 vacancies, oy vey. So I called my son's piano teacher and I said, Miss Vanessa, today's your lucky day. You've always wanted to try a bricks and mortar. I'll give you a space, 700 square feet for free. You just have to pay your utility bill and pay insurance and take the space as is. She did that. She hired 7 teachers. Immediately, 300 new people were coming to my shopping center. Win, win, win. Now, would I do that with a vape store? No. But for her to bring 300 families to my shopping center when I had 14 vacancies at the time of the day where my property was dead, 3 to 6. It was brilliant. She then went from 700 square feet to 2,500 square feet. And every quarter moved her up, half cam only, 5+ cam. When I invited her to move out, I had to because my rents were 50 triple net and she was at 25 triple net. So I helped her go find a flex space and she's now in 4,000 square feet. A win-win-win story. But she was there when I needed her to be and it was awesome. And what was my downside? If she was a music instruction teacher, I gave her an old chiropractor space with 3 little rooms and she expanded. Canesware, I'm driving to work one day and I see a bunch of little lawn signs in the grassy median in front of my shopping center that had Canesware signs, so University of Miami athletic apparel, and it had like an address that I could see that it was a warehouse. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go find this guy. He must have merchandise and apparel, he should be in my shopping center. I went and tried to find him. I found him, he had a note on the door, call, appointment only, but I looked in and I saw it was fully loaded with University of Miami stuff. Now, I am a Florida State Seminole. It did take me a little bit of a heartburn to talk to this guy, but I'm an equal opportunity landlord. So I talked to him, he's like, no, I'm good. And then I'm like, no, you really have to be at my center. And I know it's football season, but I'm gonna come back and talk to you. And then I did what many leasing agents do. I didn't follow up, I forgot. And then next year, July football season, what do I see in the median? The darn signs. And I'm like, darn it, I dropped the ball on this guy. So went to see him again, and then now he's in my CRM, and I'm calling him. I'm like, I'm gonna call you after football season. So literally January 10th, I'm calling him. January 20th, January 30th, one day he walks into my office. I literally leaped, like I had this office where it was in my shopping center, so he walks in and I could see from, like I had this open window from my office in the back, and I'm like, I have to have you here. I did a deal with him during football season for the next year. I said, I'll let you pay $1,000 a month. I'm gonna give you 1,100 square feet. By that time I had of the 14 vacancies, I still had about 8. I said, $1,000 a month, 5 months football season, you take the space as is, and then we'll talk about it after. What are you doing in the warehouse? 300 grand. You're gonna double that here. He goes, well, we'll see. First year, he did $800,000 in 1,100 square feet. So I raised him, he said, I wanna continue. I did like $1,000 a month during off football season. I raised him to $5,000 a month during football season, and he's there a couple years, and then we finally did a long-term lease with him. Now he's doing $1.2 million in the store and 400 online sales. And literally, this is an 1,100 square foot store filled to the brim of merchandise. And they're doing their online sales like in the common area where the people can't even I go, you need to expand. He just opened in July in my center, moved to another space in my same shopping center, and went to 2,700 square feet. And now, that center that I told you I couldn't lease and I had to hire someone, he's opening a second location out there. And that one I'm doing a pop-up. So pop-ups, and what's so great, because where my center is 30 miles away from the campus. So the people that go to him are the epitome and definition of destination traffic that I wouldn't have gotten. So I am a huge believer for the right use for pop-ups. He just finished the football season, and again, the Hurricanes didn't do as well this year. I was like biting my nails. I'm actually like cheering for the Miami Hurricanes. He did 1.8 million, and now they have a whole space, 600 square feet for online. Their online went up to $1 million. So pop-ups are awesome.
What's the maximum time that you will allow them to come with such great deals?
So my friend Jaime said, what's the maximum time? I would do 6 months at a shot. Because if they come in, and if the music people don't hire the people and don't have the families, then I want her out. Like, it's gotta be good for both of us. But then with her, I did, after the first 6 months, I think I did, like, my cam was $10. I think I did $4 and then $8. I mean, I gradually, they gotta get used to it. Because she was teaching out of her house. And now she's this huge success. Okay, hurry up. Call your neighborhood leasing agents, go have coffee, and talk about the dead deals you all had done to you in the last year. The dead deal that the woman across the street from your shopping center had, you may be able to resurrect that in your property. Dead deal meetings. We do this quarterly, and I would say twice a year we resurrect a deal that someone else couldn't do. Whether it was rent, exclusives, whatever, dead deal meetings. Okay. If you want a list of, I think, 17 things that national retailers have said to me in person about how they want you to contact them, do Azor Rockstar and we'll send you the list. 17 things, it's literally what they said, how they want you to follow them. Don't send email blasts. They hate the email blasts. I will literally get 50 of them to stop me for the next 2 days and say, please tell me you've told them to stop sending email blasts. They hate them. So, we need to be, like I said earlier, offense versus defense. Think about this. Look at your portfolio, and I think this is the last slide so you can get ready to ask questions. Look at your portfolio for the last 12 months and think, how many national deals did I do last year? So let's say you did 10, okay? And so, okay, we're gonna do 10 next year. So to do 10, do we need to call 50? And every national retailer we reach out to, we send a map with their locations and their competitors' locations. So we say, dear Ulta, We'd love to have you in our shopping center. We have the space that fits your parameters. I understand you take 12,000 square feet or whatever. I don't have fancy products, so I would never do an Ulta, but we have 12,000 square feet or 18,000 square feet. We have co-tenants like you've had before. We've attached the map of Sephora and and other fancy dancy tenants, and we would love to talk to you. And in the subject headline, they all want the city and the state, because they say, I just had a canvassing breakfast this morning, and I had a tenant rep broker there, and she said, I get email blasts all the time, and I don't even know what city or state the flyer's coming from. So one-on-one. So when I tell people, reach out to the national retailers one-on-one, instead of sending to 2,000 retailers, people go, I have no time in the day to do that. So now I want to reverse engineer that. If we contact 50 national retailers, divided by 50 weeks, that means one a week. We cannot be a one-to-one ratio. We can't send one. So, and let's just, if you want to send the email blast, go ahead, but look back and see if it's working. And then once a week, send one-on-one email blast, one-on-one email to the retailer where you've researched them, you've done your homework, you look intelligent, they like that you've done your homework, and see what kind of response you get. I bet you a lot of money that the one where you've taken the time and it's a one-to-one, me to you, I've done the research, I know what you like, I know what you're looking for, here's a map. Now, I couldn't do the map would take me a week, but I do have an intern that does maps that takes her 5 minutes. So get the intern, they'll do the map, and then see what kind of reaction you're gonna get from the national retailer. I promise you, night and day. They're not even deleting the emails, they're not reading them, and they have too many, they can't even delete them. And then if you guys want more, come to Florida and you can come to my workshop where I take you canvassing. So tell me, what did we learn? Thank you guys so much.